Hey, what is up everyone? It's Rich. Alright, welcome to the video. Today, we are going to look at more Wildstorm art. This is an interesting one too. So, I had been leaning towards doing Johnny Future by Arthur Adams. That was some really incredible work, and then I was teetering into possibly going into his authority issues that he did, and that seemed interesting because I remember at the time, was it was cool seeing Arthur Adams not continuing to do work through Wildstorm, but he was coming back, more often. And then this popped into my mind as I was kind of thinking about doing the Authority today. I was like, well, might as well start with I think the first full book that he did for Wildstorm. And I could be off on that. I know he did a Gen 13 variant cover for the first issue of the ongoing series, but yeah. So this is Gen 13 Generation X, and it's Arthur Adams and Alex Garner. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say that this book also was in 3D. There was another book that they did in 3D, but I'm nearly sure that I have a 3D version of this comic here. But we're just going to look at the regular version. These aren't the best scans, so I apologize for that. They're very pixely. And it just kind of is what it is. It would be very difficult to shoot the book. I've watched some of the old videos where I would actually film with my phone, and I just they're not as good as these ones. It's just you're limited on sometimes what you can actually get a hold of to show. But anyway, so we'll get into this right away, and yeah, let's settle in. We've done a lot of Wildstorm books. There's so many surprises and weird twists and turns, and the more that I sort of think about it, the more I go, oh man, like people are gonna like really be surprised at how many different comics there are. But anyway, so this looks like this might all be art. Let me see if it is. No, it's Garner. Wow, a very, very detailed upper area right here. I mean, we're used to seeing Arthur do that on himself, but to see Alex Garner doing it on art is really, really cool. I actually, how I got started at Wildstorm was as Alex Garner's assistant. I've talked about it a little bit in some of the other videos, but yeah, I was hired. I figured I would show the covers really quick first. So there's, I think, 3 covers. This is another Arthur Adams one. But yeah, I started on Gen 13, issue 2 of the ongoing series as Alex's assistant, doing very menial stuff. Very, very simple things. Filling in blacks on little costume parts and, maybe inking like wood pieces or just little stuff. Nothing too extreme. And as we worked together longer, I did more stuff. But yeah, so Arthur Adams is awesome. He did visit Wildstorm. I remember going to lunch with Arthur Adams, J. Scott Campbell, Scott Doombier, and a bunch of people. It was really, really cool. His wife was there with him, and it was neat. Arthur was a big deal, and he was someone that I had been a fan of for a couple of years at that point. So, his stuff is renowned for its crazy detail, and I think there's one more cover. Let me see. Oh, okay, so this is the J. Scott Campbell variant, so we'll just look at this. Art stuff is so detailed, it actually, in Atomic Weenie Ink, this, it's, it looks real simple compared to art stuff. It's funny. You just get a couple of Arthur Adams pieces in you, and all of a sudden your what would you call it, perception of detail really gets, like, warped. It's like, where's all the lines and like stuff? This is a lot of stuff to draw. A lot of characters on this cover. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 characters, Jeff has a real interesting way. I mean, it's definitely, I think, from art, the way that he lights clothing. I mean, probably from Jim Lee a little bit too, but yeah, this is like classic Arthur Adams, like double lighting, or I don't even know what they would consider this, but you know, that black core shadow on stuff is kind of neat. All right, so we'll look at the credits. So Brandon Choi has inked, or I mean, written a few books that we've looked at. We've got Arthur Adams on pencils, inks Alex Garner, colors the classic team of Joe Chida with his assistant Martin Jimenez. At this point, they probably were switching dudes, and then ink assist is Peter Guzman, who is a good friend of mine. I haven't talked to him a long time, but yeah, Peter's awesome. And we got all this other stuff and. Who did the letters? I always feel bad. I always skip it. Richard Starkings and Comic Crafts. David Lampier. Let's go. Consulting editor Bob Harris. Now I didn't realize that. Is that because was it tied in with Marvel or something? I mean, I know that. Yeah, okay, so it was. I don't think Bob Harris was with DC or Wildstorm at that point. And this is interesting. So Generation X was created by Scott Lobdell and Chris Bachalo. Although I knew that they did the book, I would not have realized that they actually created the characters. That's interesting. All right, so let's get into the pages. There's a few things that Arthur does that I think you'll see in his work quite often. He does a lot of stuff that's straight up and down. He'll move the camera around also, but it's not uncommon for Art to do more shots that are a little bit more straight up and down. Another thing Arthur will do is he'll have sometimes characters actually standing on the panel border, which is, you know, not everyone does that, but you will see that at times in his work. And of course, as I said before, he's very famous for the level of detail that he puts in his work. It's really, really crazy. This is nice. Very, very nice first panel. Looks like John Byrne right there. I don't know if it is. Classic Art Adams hand. You'll see J. Scott Campbell do that all the time. It is funny because, I mean, for people that know art stuff real well, especially back at this time. See, this is what I was talking about, where he actually lowered their feet just the tiniest bit into the panel. But you know, that's you won't see that with tons and tons of artists in comics. But art will use it, and sometimes they'll actually be standing on the panel border. But you can see he dropped them down just a little bit. You run the risk of what they call a tangent, meaning that things line up too well, and it kind of creates like a visual sort of sticking point, you know, where it just looks off and your eye will sort of see an unusual pattern. It's kind of bringing like bad attention to itself, but this doesn't do that, to be clear. And this is a great way to start the morning if it's morning for you and you're looking at some good art before you start your day of drawing. For myself included, never hurts to be looking at good art. Really cool shoes. It's kind of the grunge boot. I've talked about my obsession with shoe tread. It's not really an obsession, but yeah, you kind of have to make a decision whether you're going to be a tread artist or not. When will you draw tread? When will you not? We had Eric Canetti on the channel one time. I say we. I think it was just Eric and I. And I was asking, we went over his art, and I was talking about like the pouches, and did he know what was in the pouches on some of his drawings? It was kind of funny, but there's Lynch. Look at him. Looks like a handsome tiger, lion. I mean, this guy kind of looks like Lion-O too. Speaking of lions. Someone had asked me yesterday about consistency with art. I don't remember if it was on Patreon or if it was on YouTube, but you know, it's not uncommon, you know, to like learn like kind of like a male face and a female face and to use it quite often. I mean, it keeps your work consistent. And then as you move further into your career, you know, you can always play with the proportions of things, meaning the size of the actual nose or the mouth, and then also how the distance is between the stuff. And it'll give you a lot of different types. But yeah, I mean, initially, if you're learning to draw, it's not a bad idea to just get a real solid male and female head that you can move around and then branch out from there. So anyway, I don't want to deviate too much. I think yesterday the video wasn't intentional, but I had done a very, very long question and answer video on Sunday. And I was still sort of in that headspace where I was like explaining. So I felt like it drifted a little too much. It wasn't on purpose, but man, the colors on this are great. Fuck, man, I love the way his eyes look. I think this character's name is Trance. I could be wrong. I used to actually own an original J. Scott Campbell page with this dude on it, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, we need to look at DV8. Someone had recommended Umberto Ramos Crimson. I definitely want to get to that soon. It's in my upper tier of stuff I want to look at. But DV8 would be fun too, which I think was Umberto's first book at Wildstorm. Oh, this is great. The house. Man, that's cool. This is, in a weird way, if you're a big comic and Gen 13 fan, this is almost as iconic as the Brady Bunch house. And what's funny too is because on Gen 13 #1 they did a Brady Bunch variant cover. But yeah, it's like if I could go and visit a house that was built like this, it would be very surreal. But that's, that is a testament to J. Scott Campbell and Jim, planning this stuff out quite well. I don't know what, who did what, if just the house was described and Jeff drew it, but it is memorable. But again, you can see art uses a lot of vertical lines, vertical and horizontal, like true vertical and horizontal. It works for his stuff though. It never feels too stiff, but I think it's because he generally will have at least one or two panels in on the page that have more depth. Like this shot has more depth. Man, that's great. That's a really, really nice panel, in fact. All the kids sitting on the couch. Hellboy shirt, that's pretty funny. I'm not sure what this shirt says. It's a little hard to see in the comic, but these are all classic art things. He loves dinosaurs, and I think he loves like big monkeys. Like, well, obviously he did Monkey Man O'Brien, King Kong. This looks like a griffin, maybe. I'm not sure. And a bonsai tree. I love bonsais. This is fun. Really, really cool. I've not seen this book in forever. Okay, so now this is the character from Generation X. I haven't read Generation X in like 20 years, so I'm like way out of it when it comes to these characters. But man, this character is cool looking. So Bacalo. Shit would take a while. Oh man, that's great too. We should definitely, even though it's not a Wildstorm book, we need to look at some Generation Next. That stuff is some iconic Chris Bacalo. And we could even get into some of the stuff that he did for Vertigo too. Would be pretty cool. Man, this is great. Damn. Wow. What a cool page. I'm so frustrated with my comic book collection right now. I talked about, like, I'm actually, when I get done with this video, I'm going to put some stuff up on Facebook to sell, and comic art fans. I'm going through original art first, but I can't get to my comic book collection. So much of it is just like in storage limbo with boxes and boxes of stuff. It's very, very frustrating because I would love to get actually out like this comic and have it, but I don't even know where it is. I have an idea, but it sucks, man. So I'm trying to just sell like half my shit so I can at least enjoy the half of it that I want to see. It just gets to a point. And it's not even like, I mean, I know I do a lot of open that books and things like that, but just if you've been a comic book fan or a collector of anything for like 20, 25 years, you end up having a lot of it. This is a great page, man. I love this. This dude just does not skimp on detail, man. It's absolutely insane what he does. Even when it's simple, it's just, everything is so well drawn. It's so solid. All right. Continuing on. Let's go. Oh, yeah. This could almost be a panel out of Danger Girl. Did Art ever work on Danger Girl? I'm sure he's done a Danger Girl piece, I would think. But, man, he would do a great Danger Girl comic. Holy cow. I've said this in a few videos where we touch on Art Adams. He did a piece probably now, like 3 years ago, that's one of my favorite Art Adams pieces, which is he did a Walking Dead, I don't even know, like quintuple gatefold, something crazy like that. It's just a completely insane piece of art. It's so complex, and he did it so well. Oh my god, it's amazing. But he always blows me away. He did a Star Wars recreation cover where he did it in his style. I think a friend of mine actually bought it. But it's incredible, too. It was a commission. But, he always draws the logo and the price of the comic and all that. But just the actual piece itself is amazing. Yeah, this is great. There were some auctions that ended last night. And a really cool Jim Lee. It was Punisher fighting Wolverine, like in the water, from probably one of the Punisher issues that Jim did. It sold for $73,000 for an interior splash page. That is crazy. Comic art, man. I keep telling people it is so collectible, and people really will spend a lot of money on it. I said to my friend, I said, who has $73,000 to buy a comic book page? I want to know what they do for a living. I need that job, right? But I guess if you're providing comic art for them, then you at least you're circling in that pool, right? This is great. Queelock. We got Bobby, Sarah, Roxy. I'm not gonna go through all their names because I'll probably forget someone. Look at, you know, his Fairchild is definitely, it looks different than Campbell's. I mean, all the characters do to some extent, but his Fairchild almost looks like she could be Australian a little bit to me. His grunge is cool. Oh yeah, this character. This dude's got this like little character that comes out of his stomach. Man, this is good. This right here almost was like a J. Scott Campbell panel. Damn. This is really interesting how he does this. Oh, I'm going to grab my pencil or pen so I can do it. But like this right here, that's really cool. He's just tucking their feet just outside the panel. This guy's feet obviously go further. But man, it's really, really cool. One of the harder challenges that I've found lately is just panels with people standing around. I mean, these are obviously in slightly more action poses, but yeah, I mean, if you've got people just sort of like talking and whatnot, oh my gosh. Here we go. Here's another one. Yeah, he dips the feet in this one actually go lower. See, and this is another thing you have to watch out too, is it's kind of a no-no to cut off at the ankles. So you can see he pulls the foot down a little bit further than the ankle. The ankle is like right about here on a lot of the characters. But yeah, if you cut it off at a joint, it just feels a little weird. Like, you know, if that was like a foot. Try to give a few tips in these videos. I know not everyone's an artist, but the artists, people that do follow my channel, I think appreciate it. Oh, I went out of order. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Well, spoilers. No. Man, the colors are nice on this. This is really good too. I love how it's like very cool over here, and then the warmth of Bobby lighting them up is actually very nice. This is cool too. To me, Arthur Adams has a splash of Robert Crumb in his work, and I don't think that that's actually me just sort of speculating on it. I kind of think that he probably is a Robert Crumb fan. He's the age of someone that probably would have had more exposure to someone like Robert Crumb, and it seems to click for me. I'm not saying that he's at home pouring through Robert Crumb books every day. I'm just saying that I think that's probably one of his influences at some point. This is good too. Man, what a pain in the butt that would have been to draw. That's a lot of characters. Again, you've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 characters in this panel. That's going to take a while. Dude, this page has got a shit ton of characters on it. Oh my gosh. Team books, I'm just going to tell you straight up, they're a pain in the ass, because you know what teams fight? Other teams. So not only are you drawing a shit ton of characters from one team, you could double that. And it's always a bunch of stuff with people standing around. I actually, like at DC, it used to kind of drive me nuts. They would sometimes try to rope me into doing like team books. Like they're like, hey, do you want to ink this team book? I'm just like, oh, dude, I know what that means. Single character book for me, please. But it is what it is. But yeah, I would get frustrated sometimes. Not so much with the action stuff, but you know, it's like I think the writers feel forced or obligated to like have the characters all together. So if it's a 7 character team, you know, you'll have 2 people doing something and then 5 of them standing in the background. It's like, can't they just split up, please? This is really cool. Kind of a Michael Golden sort of color thing going on here with the 2 almost 2 different planes of activity. Well, even a third with the color. This is great too. Man, he draws him so good. And this is very, very effective if you ever want to light something in a very simple way. I mean, this is not a bad way to start, which is to just, you know, this kind of deal sort of dumbs things down, you know, where you can have something that looks lit and not crush your brain trying to figure out light sources and stuff. I call it comic book lighting, you know. He doesn't seem to really have a lot of cast shadows. He has some subtle ones. It's just a different style. Like for me, I'm not going to get into like a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm always putting a light source. So wherever my characters are, there's usually some sort of ambient light lighting them. I don't know why I do it, but I generally do. So it starts to affect the objects that I have in the panel more. Where I don't think I would personally light things that way. Except if it was a style thing, like if I was intentionally trying to get that look, which is, I mean, sometimes it looks really, really cool. All right. This is like not a super long book, but I think it's about 35 pages of art. Quaylock is so cute. But yeah, art really brought it on this. And then, you know, the next time that we revisit art, we'll look at the Authority stuff, and then we'll move into the Johnny Future. I think that'll be a fun little chain of things. And I think, you know what? Let's do it. Next video that I do for Wildstorm, I think I'm going to do DV8. We'll do DV8, and then we'll move into Crimson with Humberto Ramos. So we'll kind of try to start with people's early books at Wildstorm, and we can watch the evolution of, like I had kind of said, the sort of core artists or artists that we know from that, and then we'll move into the 2000s to like 2012 or whatever it is, and we can look at sort of the, I don't even know what you call it, maybe like the 5th generation of Wildstorm artists. Not that they're specific to Wildstorm, but you know, the Brian Hitches and the Frank Quietleys and Chris Sprouse and Gene Ha, and I mean, there's just tons. J.H. Williams, so many people came through. Sean Phillips. I mean, I'm trying to remember what is his name. There's another guy I'm thinking of that did some stuff for us. That's a nice Roxy. Damn, very different than Jeff's, but that's a nice face. And again, just characters galore. Last tip that I'll give, just for someone, because I talked about this on Patreon, is why I tell people, I say, you know, look, if you want to draw comic books, it's not a bad idea to just attempt to do pages, no matter where you're at with your like learning. The reason being is like you, if you attempted a page like this, you're going to get so much real-time experience, whether you draw faces good or not. But I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, like around 31 heads, if I missed one or not. Just attempting something like this is going to make you a better artist. Whether you have success at it or not, I guarantee if you attempted something like this, you're going to start to come up with some opinions on what worked and what didn't for you. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. But I mean, you can't get experience like this really in any other place, because it's just so much variety when you draw comics that, you know, it's just, yeah. This is great. Man, what a cool comic. This is really nice too. It's funny because you could put, and it's Hellboy. It looks like the Hellboy from the third Hellboy movie. Oh, yeah, that's right. Chris would do all this swirly whirly stuff on this. Oh, look, he's got the hand. The mouth hand. This is nice. I like how he does the jacket. Jacket that. Look at Queelock there. He looks funny. It's Trent Reznor. Oh, yeah. This guy. That's cool. I think this is the little dude that jumps out of the guy's stomach, right? Okay. Oh, that's really cool. I need a brighter color. Let's this. Actually, this whole panel is great. Oh man, that's cool too. Sometimes people will ask me, they'll say, you should explain more why something looks cool or not to you. A lot of times it's just aesthetically cool. I like the angle that this character is at. I like the coloring on it quite a bit. And I actually like kind of the simplicity of it. Just the flow of it is very nice, you know, and really kind of the stretch on the head. Do you see how he's really given it like a nice, they call it stretch and squish. So, you know, you can squish a shape or stretch a shape. You'll there's a Disney hardcover book called The Illusion of Life, and they talk about a flour sack and animating it, and it's just, you know, it looks kind of like this, and they go through like a whole bunch of different things of it acting basically, and how you can actually put a lot of personality into an inanimate object that's basically just a rectangle with you know, some flex to it. So the same goes for your characters, you know, body language and stuff like that is very important. Man, Garner did really like almost like a flawless job on this. I mean, I think Alex was a huge Art Adams fan, but that doesn't always translate into that you're going to completely like sync up with someone. But this looks real nice, you know. And Alex actually inks a little, I would call it maybe warm would be the word. It's a little, he has like a little bit of a more varied line than Art would normally use on himself. And so there's like a little tiny bit more of a boldness with Alex, although he would go back and forth. It was interesting is he at times would ink really really thin on J. Scott Campbell, and then he got a little thicker at some points, and then kind of dialed it back the other way. It was interesting. But I remember for Gen 13 #1 how thin his lines were, and then a few issues later he started getting a little more bold with it. I didn't see the year on this one. I'm gonna guess this was around 98, 97 or 98, I'm gonna think. So, okay, we're wrapping this up. We got one more page. It's really probably not the last page of the story, but anyway. Well, hopefully that was fun, and you got to check out a little bit of Arthur Adams. I would assume that most people probably haven't seen this book in a long time, even if you own it. I hadn't. I would say that I probably hadn't seen this in, geez, I don't even know, 10 or 15 years at least. So it was fun to check out. Really, really nice art. I thought the colors were great. And this is a lot to juggle. When you've got this many character costumes and stuff like that, you know, it can look very skittily, but I think that Joe Chito and Martin did a really, really excellent job of making it fun and colorful and really working. So credit to them. Art, Brandon Choi for the script. Richard Starkings did nice lettering. Art crushed it on the pencils. So, all right, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. I will be back in a day or so with DV8 or Surprise. We'll see. It'll be one or the other. Surprise or Deviate. Okay, bye.